Hello FPO managers, welcome back to the channel. It's the Redman Fantasy Premier League Focus. My name is Ola and I want to say a big happy new year to everyone watching. The channel is exactly a year old right now and this is the first video of 2026. I hope we can do a lot better. I want a lot more subscribers. I want a lot more engagement in the comments and of course the likes as well, just so that we know that we are doing something positive. So guys, don't fail to leave a like or engage me in the comments. So guys, I want to quickly touch on this game week 20 that just went by. It was my first red arrow in the last 11 game weeks, so after 10 straight green arrow I finally just hit a red arrow. But guys, I'll take it on the chin. I made some drastic decisions that cost my team, so I've always been playing a double pivot Arsenal midfield for the last 5 game weeks. So since game week 12 I think I've always had the Declan Rice and the Bukayo Saka combination. Guys, it's so funny that the game week I choose to go against my template of playing Saka and Rice, I got punished. So perhaps this is the reason we attracted a red arrow. So there we go. Rice has been delivering. Saka has also been delivering in my team, but I chose to go against this fella. So well guys, and it wasn't a rushed decision. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this for one. It wasn't a rushed decision. I had enough time to think. I think I made the transfer of Declan Rice out of my team about 2 hours before the deadline, just before I got on my TikTok deadline live stream. So if you know this page, you know that we do a TikTok deadline live stream every last hour to the deadline. So feel free to join the live stream on TikTok. You can bring your questions, ask us whatever you've got bothering your mind. So guys, I'll quickly talk about what I'm gonna be touching on in this video. We're gonna be talking on Erling Haaland as an FPL asset. Is he still worth the price in our team? I'll look at Declan Rice if we need to squeeze him in our team, because I do feel he's an essential player to own, even though he's not on penalties and stuff. Being on corner kicks, having the season he's having right now, also getting the goals, I think we need to consider a player like Declan Rice in our squad. I'll also be talking about Ekitike, Lucas Paqueta, Gerald Bowen, Virgil van Dijk. Do you need to play a double Arsenal defense? Do you need to look elsewhere for a double defense if you have to? I'll also be looking at the teams to target, for the next couple of game weeks, and I'll be looking at captaincy decisions. What game weeks should we go against Erling Haaland? I think this is a serious priority topic we should all be looking at, especially those of you around the top 200k, 250k. You should be looking to play differential at every opportunity you can. Have differential players in your team that would bank points, and at the same time have players you can captain against Erling Haaland. He's done too much right now. He keeps blanking at will, so I think we shouldn't force this guy as game week captain every week. I've been saying this since game week 9 thereabout, and I'm hoping someone is doing something different out there so far. And I'm going to quickly touch on what chips are safe to use. I know you guys are, a lot of people are getting tempted. They have the wild card, the free hit, the bench boost. They feel like they can play something and capitalize in their mini league. FPL doesn't work like that. I think you should save it for when you really do need it. That's when you get rewarded. And 2 particular chips I want you to save is a free hit and a wild card. Don't joke with those chips. Yes, they make you look nice, but if you're not playing it at a strategic time when it matters, like on a double game week or on a blank game week, for example, on a blank game week you have only 4 players, 6 players in your team available to play, you free hit on such a game week, you capitalize on it. So I say don't randomly play a free hit, don't randomly play a wild card. Those are the 2 most powerful chips in your squad at the moment, in your team at the moment, your FPL team at the moment. So be very mindful what you do with those chips. So guys, quickly I'll touch on my game week 20 team review, how I moved from Declan Rice to Lucas Paqueta, who didn't lace a boots, and how I moved from McAllister to Anthony Gordon, who had his goal cancelled, and exactly how Virgil van Dijk has failed to keep a clean sheet in the last couple of game weeks, guys. So quite interesting video this one would be, guys. Keep it locked with me and I'll be back with the team points review and those other touching and talking points in the video. I hope you keep it locked, guys. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here. It's the place to be for your FPL updates and tips. Hi FPL managers, thank you for keeping it locked to this point in the video. So let's quickly look at my game week 20 team review. So guys, I hit a red arrow on the 11th time of asking. It's been 10 straight green arrows the last 10 game weeks, but finally it has happened, and exactly how it happened, I'm going to explain to you. I took out Declan Rice from my team. I brought in Lucas Paqueta, who didn't even travel with the West Ham team. I lost 17 points from Declan Rice. I also took out McAllister. I brought in Anthony Gordon. He had his goal chalked off for an offside, so that was a loss in itself. So I think all in all, the two transfers I made cost me about maybe 24 points for the game week, so it could have been a lot better game week. Then I'm gonna just quickly start with the Crystal Palace goalkeeper, whom I've been holding since game week 12 when I wildcarded. He blanked, but indeed he brought us some save points, which is something you expect of Dean Henderson. And when Palace are on it, they give you a clean sheet, but they haven't been on it since game week 15, guys. And the record shows that's around the same period they lost Munoz, they lost Chris Richards towards the later part. And I think it's really kind of affecting their defensive hierarchy and how compatible they are at the moment. So not too much to expect from Palace, and I'm doubled up on their defense. If you can see my team, I've got Richards. I'm still keeping faith that he'll be back at some point. So if you've got Richards and you held him to this point, do not sell. Just hold on to your boy. He is a solid pick. Moving on, we'll look at my Man City assets. Matheus Nunes, no clean sheet, also giving us a solid red card there. He's been a solid pick. He's actually outscored O'Reilly. I'm happy I went for him on a white card in game week 12. So looking at the records from game week 12 to now, he's absolutely smashed it, giving more points to his managers than O'Reilly has done. Virgil van Dijk, I'm divided about this fella. I said I was going to talk about him. At this point, is not really a compulsory hold in your team. You don't have to squeeze to get a Virgil van Dijk. I don't see a clean sheet any point in the season. I don't know why I've actually hired him in my team, but I think I've kept faith, hoping that Liverpool could do something different. But unfortunately, that something different only came how many times? In game week 19 against Leeds. The other time it came was in game week 16 against Brighton. So pretty much since I white carded in game week 12, Virgil van Dijk has given me just 3 clean sheet points, 9 points in total out of 12 to 20 is about 8 game weeks. I think that's quite poor for one of the most expensive defenders in the game. It's 5.9 million owned and value. I don't think he's worthy of that price. Moving on, Truffert, I have him in my team as a route to get points that Bowen could keep, but he's really not a solid FPL pick in my opinion. He doesn't really get DEFCON, so if he's not getting an assist or they're not keeping a clean sheet, there's nothing much to expect from him. So guys, my Fulham assets saved my game week in my opinion. Harry Wilson, if he had not scored anything, it would have been terrible game week for me, so I'm glad he got a return and I'm happy I'm still holding on to these guys. The Chelsea game is a London derby, could be high scoring, he could deliver more points there. Leeds game, not the worst. Brighton, positive game. Man United, they're all over the place. I do feel I can hold on to Harry Wilson. Bukayo Saka, minutes not too nailed on right now. He's 10.2 million. I don't know. He dropped in price yesterday on Sunday night, so I don't know if he's worth keeping in our team, but I'll absolutely still keep him. An Arsenal asset. I know his minutes become more risky, especially with the Champions League coming back. But for now, he is a decent hold. Yes, the minutes are not really looking good. He might get to be more of a rotation player in the near future, but I think Arteta do like him enough to play him every game week. Perhaps he was saving his legs for the Liverpool game, which is a bigger game for Arsenal. They want to keep 3 clean sheets and make sure they keep the momentum going. Gordon, he lost a goal, played 62 minutes. I don't think he's the most brilliant pick to have in your team, but at the same time, look at the fixtures, guys. Leeds at home, Wolves away. I don't want to miss out on that from Anthony Gordon. So well, I'm already invested early and I might make it a double Newcastle by the coming game with Cherky. He delivered DEFCON, which is surprising. I didn't expect much from him, but I think because a lot of us own Cherky, a lot of people brought in player like Bowen. Bowen also got DEFCON. So these are people that when you get them in your team, they always put in an effort on the pitch. You can always see what they're doing. Captain for the game week, he blanked, talking about Erling Haaland. I think it's time we all start playing against this guy. He's not a solid pick in my opinion. Since game week 12 when I wildcarded, I did try to go against him in game week 13 I think, or 14 when I captained Salah, and that backfired. So since then I've not really been able to take a risk because my rank is way far behind and I need to be safer. But you up there in the top 200k, 300, 150, 50k, play differential, go against Haaland at every opportunity you can. So make sure the people you're bringing in your team are people that can suit the captaincy armband and obviously bag against solid teams or vulnerable teams that they should get points against. And yep, Raul Jimenez, like I mentioned, thankful for the Fulham guys returning points. I'm also positive for his next couple of games. He's on penalties, could be a good one for the team. Then on the bench is all zeros. Paqueta coming with 0 minutes, didn't lace a boot, but it's a back injury, not a broken leg, so I'm positive he might play this game week, and if he doesn't, it's fine. I've still got a squad. I'm happy to play 4-4-2. Perhaps I might make a transfer on Ekitike. He's a hamstring doubt around his fitness, but I think at the same time, if you want to wait for news, but at the same time you could just go for the upside, which was what I did last game week. I went for the upside by bringing in Lucas Paqueta for his game against Wolverhampton, took out Declan Rice, and Declan Rice banged, and that cost us something. So up to you if you want to make that move, but I would say maybe just get solid news. If you have solid news about the hamstring not being serious, then you replace him. For me, I might just go for the upside and try bringing a player like Gw21, or I don't want to go back to Thiago, but Thiago is a solid pick to have again in our team. And for those of you thinking about playing a double Arsenal defense, I think you can still take that risk. Yes, I've been talking up against it for a minute, but I think you can still take that risk. The point of the season Arsenal are at right now, they would not want to drop any points or lose any games. So that being said, let's look at my team for game week 21. So guys, this is my team ahead of game week 21. In goal is Dubravka. I favor Burnley defense against Man United that's all over the place, and of course they are less attacking in my opinion, so I would absolutely back up Burnley defense to do a job. And I'm also playing Matheus Nunes against Brighton at home. City at home is a decent one, even though they didn't deliver in this past game against Chelsea. Virgil van Dijk, absolutely I could really just get rid of him this game week, but there's no transfers to do that. I've got one transfer in my bank, which I might prioritize on Ugo Ekitike. So through fair, he manages to hold his place in the team. Guys, my team can obviously do with probably a wild card, but I'm happy to keep rolling transfers and trying to make corrections for the time being. What else? In the midfield, I've got Cherki playing Brighton, Saka obviously playing Liverpool, Lucas Paqueta against Forest. I'm hoping he laces his boots. Harry Wilson playing Chelsea at home, Leeds at home as well. For Anthony Gordon, that was a decent one. Who knows, I could obviously probably make this guy captain, but his minutes is not really there, and that's why I'm thinking about bringing in a player like Gw21. I could absolutely make him captain for the game week against Leeds at home, and I'm positive they could do a job there. Haaland in the attack, holding the vice captain armband, could be the captain at the end. And also Raul Jimenez playing Chelsea, I'm positive about that. On the bench is Dean Henderson, Ekitike, Van Herka, and as well as Richards. Looking at this team, guys, a replacement for Ekitike before is 9.1 million before he drops to 9 million. I think a decent replacement could easily be the second highest goal scorer in the league, talking about this guy, but I've held him for a minute. And one thing I will say, guys, this fella hasn't scored since November. Scoring this past weekend was his first return in forever. So if you feel like he is the one to go with, absolutely do it, but I think I've seen enough. I don't want to be invested there. I might even prioritize a Jared Bowen just for the positive fixture run he's got. Forest, Tottenham, Sunderland, Chelsea, Burnley, even plus the Man United game. So all the way to game week 26. I mean, if West Ham want to salvage anything of what's left of this season for themselves, they have to win the next couple of games, guys. And I think he is indeed the third highest points returning player in the league, so I see no reason or why should I doubt myself to own him. I really should have him in my team. That's for Jarrod Bowen. So I think Jarrod Bowen is an option. I'll stay away from João Pedro. Calvert-Lewin is also an option for the season, but I don't like his fixture run unless of course you are trying to make budget available in your team so you can buy players like Palmer, Saka, if you fancy them indeed. I like Ollie Watkins easily. Ekitike could be Ollie Watkins, Ekitike could be Wisa. but I do not want to make a mistake like I've done with Declan Rice already for this season earlier in the week. So I'm just looking at his fixture run. Not the worst. Palace away, Everton at home, Newcastle away, Brentford at home. It's not the worst for Ollie Watkins. He could absolutely bang in all those games. He's banged the last 4 games running, maybe even 5. Let's see. So I think my boy might just be hitting a stride again. And I started the season with Watkins, guys. So seeing his numbers right now kind of hurts, but I know I can always reach him back if I want him. And a team I would say we should also consider might be Palace. They're kind of here and there, so if you want to squeeze in a player like Mateta, the fixture run is not the worst either. They can absolutely dominate these teams that they're playing against. Yep. That being said, I'm just gonna quickly now take you guys to the lineups of certain teams in the league, and I think we should target some of these players. So for the Brentford team, you can absolutely go for Kelleher if you want as a cheap choice goalkeeper, but obviously maybe comes off the bench. I like Thiago, I like Shada in particular. I'll say you should absolutely invest in if you like him. So these are predicted lineups of every Premier League team on this app, so I'm just showing you exactly what it looks like. So Evan Nielsen, in my opinion, from this pick, I will go for him. Yes, I have Trufer, but I'd rather have Senesi on another day. Yeah, Konza from this defense, and Cash Martinez if you like the goalkeeper. In the midfield, obviously King Rogers and Ollie Watkins are the picks there. And this is the predicted lineup for Arsenal against Liverpool. Obviously they're not putting Eze there, but it's still looking a decent midfield. So Trossard, Odegaard, Zubimendi, Rice, Saka, decent one. So guys, for those of you still worried about what Arsenal defenders to buy, I do think Hincapié is a decent hold for his price value, especially with Calafiori out right now. I want to invest in the Arsenal defense personally. That's why I talk about replacing Virgil van Dijk in my team. So I do think a player like Calafiori will fit. Obviously, like for Virgil is perfectly Gabriel, but I'm looking to keep saving team value at every opportunity I can get. So probably replace VVD with a Hincapié. If Calafiori was fit, I was absolutely going for Calafiori. Burnley, I don't really fancy anyone there. If you do, feel free. From Brighton, I would invest in a player like Van Herker, Van Broggen, Welbeck in the attack, and that might be it. And if you're looking at a cheap fifth midfield option, maybe Jorginho might just do it. At least he got a return recently. I started the season with him as well, so I can tell you a bit about how inconsistent his points returns can be. In the Chelsea team, people have been asking me a lot on my TikTok, should they go for Chelsea defenders, about Reece James, Gusto. I do think with a new coach coming, some of these players might have a chance to show themselves, like Gusto might get more minutes, who knows, Garnacho might get more minutes, but I would just stick it around not buying players that you're not so sure about their minutes or if they're going to even be in the coach's plan. So look elsewhere, guys, in my opinion. And elsewhere, the fixtures, I'll show you what fixtures to target. We'll talk about them real quick. Palace, I think, is still a team to invest in, especially defensively. And now they have Brennan Johnson. I do fancy him in the attack. Of course, a combination of Johnson, Mateta, Sarr would be dangerous in this league, but they might lose their coach. That's quite worrying. I hope things work out for the best for them and not negative. Oops, that's Everton. I would invest in only the Everton defense. And if you want to pick someone in the attack, Grealish is the guy to go with. I don't see a Barry or Beto being a decent pick unless you want to have a third striker that could be sitting on your bench or coming off your bench. From my Fulham team, obviously Wilson, Rahul, Anderson, they are the guys to go for. And at some point maybe Robinson, because he's back fit, doing what he does best. Leeds, I'm not, probably Dominic Calvert-Lewin, full stop. Liverpool, I'll be very mindful about investing in Liverpool assets. They don't have the fixture run anymore. They lost all their strikers, in my opinion. We've only got Gakpo. And guys, if you're watching for the first time, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I do got solid ideas about this team when I'm talking about them. Verts, decent hold. I would go for to save money, I'll probably go for Konate over Virgil, because there's really not much clean sheets to be expected from these guys. And I'll probably go for an Alisson Becker instead of any Liverpool defense at all. And just ignore them for the rest of the second half, early second half of this season. I'll ignore them. All right, City, obviously you should have minimum double City players. They look like they are chasing something, so they want to keep returning. That goes for Arsenal as well. I personally like Newcastle fixture run. I'm going to be heavily investing in them. It says Watamada is the predicted number 9 for this game week, but I'm looking to buy Joe and Wisa, so who knows exactly, guys. Quite a lot to cover in this video, but I'm just going to leave it short for now. Forest is a decent team to invest in. Spurs as well. West Ham, I do think I want to go for Bowen. I already have Paqueta. I think I want to introduce Bowen as well in my team. So that's it for now, guys. Back to my game week 21 team, and yeah, guys, that's the team. And if I would make any changes, probably gonna be to bring in Ekitike in my team, you know, probably replace him for Wisa, or maybe let's quickly see what that looks like. I do feel Wisa's got more minutes nailed on now. He's proven himself in the last couple of games that he's been introduced. So yeah, he's proven himself. He played 79, he got a goal. Played 77, yes, he blanked. But those minutes look encouraging, and the fact that they won those 2 games, I think he might just be getting an introduction into the team. So guys, imagine I go for Wisa, then I've got the double Newcastle attack, and I might just captain Wisa for the game week. I fancy that Newcastle attack against Leeds, especially when they're playing at home. I could absolutely take a punt, but what is keeping me away from giving them such huge responsibility like the armband is the fact that they're quite inconsistent, guys. So we'll quickly look at the fixtures difficulty rating and what teams you should be targeting. If you randomly want to do a transfer this week, I think invest in a Brentford player. They are good for the game week, good for the long run. Invest in an Everton player, good for the game week, good for the long run. Newcastle player, good for the game week, good for the long term. Nottingham Forest, decent fixture playing against West Ham. That could be high scoring. So both teams, I think, should do well. If you like Sunderland players, I think you can find a player there to invest in. I like Granit Xhaka personally. If you want to squeeze in a cheap striker in your team from there, absolutely go for it. So guys, I think these are the teams I would just chip in as teams to target. Yes, Aston Villa fixture proof, Arsenal fixture proof, absolutely you can get them in your team. Arsenal, Villa are fixture proof. Brighton in a way as well, they keep getting points return. They don't have the worst run of games either. So maybe after Man City you want to start investing in more Brighton players. Everton, solid squad. Man U, Newcastle, I would invest in the Man United team. Very inconsistent. I don't think they know where they are at right now. Sacking their manager even makes it worse. So I'm expecting them to be a team to target for the near future. We should start targeting them. Alright, so guys, I still about though. Respect to Man United, I think the teams to target still remain Wolverhampton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and somewhere there we can maybe slide in Leeds. So guys, that's it from me for this game week. I hope we all stay on the side of the green arrow. I mentioned what transfers I could make, but for now I'm lined up 3-5-2. Ekitike could be someone else, and it becomes a 3-4-3. And who do I want to take out of the team? I think Saka plays. I think Wilson has a chance. So if I'm going to get anyone out of that team, it's probably going to be Lucas Paqueta if I bring in Wisa, or if I bring in Jarrod Bowen. But if I do bring in Bowen, I'll look to play both Bowen and Paqueta in the team. But if it's Wisa, then Paqueta makes way out of the team. So that's it from you guys. I hope you all stay on the side of the green arrow. Best of luck for the game week.